Okay, you're live.
I hereby call to order the Crestwood School Board of Directors regular meeting for Thursday, June 23rd of 2022. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mrs. Bibla? Here. Mr. Brogna?
Here.
Mrs. McCurdy?
Here.
Mr. Macri?
Here.
Mrs. Spath? Mr. Swank?
Here.
Mrs. Campbell? Here. Mrs. Haddix? Here. And Mr. Boone?
Here.
8 members present.
Executive sessions were held prior to tonight's board meeting and on June 16th after the committee meeting in regards to contracts, personnel, actions, and pending litigation. Do we have any correspondence? Okay. Superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Boone. Just wanted to highlight something that you are aware of, but what we did here at Crestwood has grown in the county. Crestwood, as you know, is the first school district in the county to have a United Sports track and field program during the 2021 school year. And because of the success here and the support of what we did, the district led the recruitment of 4 additional districts to develop unified teams too. Hazleton, Wilkes-Barre, Valley West, Dallas, and then with us. So that's something I'm very proud of, coming into a district that is, ahead of the curve, doing things like that to really help those students. Also, congratulations to the graduating class of 2022. Special thanks go out to the community for supporting the seniors as they completed their high school careers. We extend thanks to Wright Township Police, St. Jude's, the faculty and staff at the Crestwood Secondary Campus, the PTA lock-in committee for providing a fantastic send-off for our graduates. Currently, we have 12 summer enrichment camps running this summer, serving over 170 students with enrichment activities that support reading and math throughout problem-solving strategies of STEM. We have summer sports camp. They're in swing right now, and there's a lot going on here, even though it's summertime. So that concludes my superintendent's report.
Thank you. We will be voting to accept the resignation of Kim Spath as a member of the Crestwood District School Board, and we will be seeking recommendation and approval to appoint Mr. Richard Nardone as the new Crestwood board member effective tomorrow. We had, just to fill you in, we had 5 letters of interest, and they were sent to all board members, and we got a consensus so that we could get this done in a timely fashion. Solicitor's report.
No report tonight, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. As we go through each committee report, we will be taking questions from the public. A reminder, we have a 3-minute time limit, and after we go through the agenda, we will take questions or comments on non-agenda items. Financial planning, Mr. Brogna.
Thank you, Mr. Boone. I'll be seeking approval of items 1 through 24, and I will add under item 22, the dollar amount is $138,220.03. Item number 23 is at a rate of $150 per hour. And item number 24, the fee is $4,800 plus a potential additional $500 observation fee.
Comments or questions from the board? Or public?
I have a question. Kim Bronstein, 14 Pine Street, Mountain Top. What is the woods on number 22? What is that?
It's placement for special needs students.
And that's just for one student, the 132,000?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
138,000. $138,220. Did I say 120? 130?
No, he said
Okay.
130.
How many students, I'm sorry?
And what was
One.
the amount again?
$138,220.03.
I'm sorry to interject, but can someone explain that to me, why it's so expensive? Or-
Well, there's specialized programs with students that have specialized needs, and we have to address the needs. Sometimes the price tags are very high. Things that we can't replicate here.
Okay, I just didn't realize it was 10 times as much as a regular student.
When we talk about, some years we apply for exemptions for special
Right.
education, this is what we're talking about.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? Yes, sir?
Robert Morrow, 65 Charter Drive. I moved into the community in October. I substitute taught in the high school here, but I have just a couple of comments that I do want to make, just following the budget process here. And they're fairly general comments, they're meant to be constructive. I do have some experience in this. I see that there are three options that have been presented to the board, which you'll vote on them, this evening, one of them. And what isn't said, what is, I guess, maybe tacitly understood, is that when you say deficit, you can't submit a budget to the state in a deficit fashion, and that deficit is made up by the fund balance. And so that's not a small item, and I'm not sure that people understand that. I'm not sure that people understand that your policy says that your fund balance should be right around 8%. It's way, way lower than that, and that's a source of concern for the district. Natasha's indicated that there was a 2% growth factor was put into this budget in terms of the subsidy that will be coming from the state, but it could be higher. I'm not hearing that there's anything definite from the legislature. It puts the local boards in a bad spot. But if there is an increase, if the subsidy is larger, will you reduce any tax that you impose, or will you add to the fund balance, or will you do both? Or can I have some kind of a thought on that?
We would most likely add to the fund balance. Once the budget is passed, we don't change it.
Okay. How about the ARP ESSER?
Sir, can I just add something? I appreciate your comments. And actually, based on recent history, our subsidy has not gone up significantly. As you follow the Crestwood recent history, there's not anticipated a large gain, even as based on the governor's budget or what the final state budget is. But I appreciate you pointing that out.
Okay, there's a lot of money sloshing around in Harrisburg.
I know. I don't think it's coming to this district, though.
We're just not sure what's going to happen to it. I'm going to be quick here.
No, I appreciate it.
The ARP ESSER money, is that included in toto in the budget?
It's in the budget, but it's not the total amount, because we have to take some of it for this coming year, and then whatever's left we'll put in there for next year.
Excellent. I think that's really good. Your debt service is $1.8 million and some. What is the actual balance on that, the actual debt? What would that be?
I'll have to get for that. I don't have that with me.
Okay, because I was going to ask about the interest rate.
I know the interest
Right.
rate is between 2.25 up to 3 based on maturity.
Very good. The charter school enrollments are very costly, as you know. These people, and really should be in touch with your legislators and basically ask them to put pressure. I keep hearing, oh, the House has passed these bills, but the fact is that I'm told that the Senate is the holdup. Well, we see the abuses, we see the lack of oversight. It really does need more, and that impacts very significantly on school districts. I'd like to say that with essentially a relatively new business manager and a new superintendent, that your relationship in the coming year will be very important. You need to speak every day. You need to speak every day, okay? You need to see that there are some internal controls in place. I understand you're changing auditors. I think that's a very wise move. Not because the previous auditor was not appropriate, but just good to change the auditor, get a different view. And the last thing I would say to you is, I'd like to recommend, I'd like to ask your chairman of the committee, Mr. Braga, you get a monthly printout of the status of the budget where you can see what what was appropriated on the line item, what has been expended, what has been, there's an interim term which escapes me right now. It's been obligated, but not spent yet. And there's, on the right-hand column, you can see what the percentage of that line item that has been spent. That's going to be really, really important that that kind of thing be able to be monitored, especially in the coming year. So I like CSIU, the Central Susquehanna Intermediate Unit. I think they do a superior job, over 300 clients in the state, which says something about them. Natasha says you have a system and so forth. I'm just saying, and I'm sure you're plugged in with that system for the coming year, but I do like CSIU. That's really what I wanted to say. I think also sometimes maybe you assume that the public understands certain things. Sometimes if you add a note on your agenda, board members and the public can actually be more understanding of what's going on, what the money is being spent for. For instance, the $138,000, that is for a very specialized placement and for a very specialized situation. So, thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments, questions? Transportation, Bibla.
I'll be recommending items 1 and 2, and I will be recommending to table item 3. Any questions from the board? Any from the public?
Policy, Mr. Macri.
I'll be looking for motion recommendations on one item on A, second reading, a second reading and adopt for B, and third reading and adopt on C through F.
Questions from the board for comments? Or the public? Human Resources, Mrs. Bibla.
I'll be recommending items 1 through 11, and I'm recommending to table number 10.
Questions or comments from the board? Or the public?
I have a question.
Yes.
Kim Bronstein, Mountain Top, 14 Pine Street. Number 1, will that position be refilled again, as well as number 5? Will those positions be refilled?
Yeah, number 1, we will, the opening on the administrative level will be filled. There'll be a realignment possibly of administration, but that will be filled. We need administration for the amount of students we have. And number 5, did you say?
5, yes. That's filled by
Yeah.
6.
Yeah, that has been filled.
And item number 1 is, with our realignment, will be at practically no additional cost to the district.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. What?
Item 1, no additional cost to the district.
Okay. And then, but are you reorganizing that you'll have a principal at that school, or?
Yes.
Yes, there'll be a
Oh,
principal
okay.
there, yes.
Thank you. And number 5, because you were talking about number 6, or?
Number 6 is the replacement for number 5.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
7.
The numbers are...
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
No.
No?
Yeah, no,
Yes,
number
5
7
is
is
the-
secondary campus, right?
No, 5 is for the replacement is number 6. Yes.
5 is the replacement for number 6.
No, 6 is
5 is
the
retiring, number 6
Well,
is
5
filling.
was the secretary at Rice Elementary.
Right.
Right.
She's retiring. Number 6 is moving into the position that
Correct.
5 is vacating.
Yes.
And number 7 is moving into the position that number 6 is vacating.
Correct.
Okay.
Do you have the wrong agenda? Randy?
No, I
That
haven't.
one, or you don't? Okay.
Other questions? Academic programs, Mrs. Campbell.
Thank you. I am asking approval from the board of items 1 through 4. Any questions from the board? The public?
Co-curricular, Mr. Swank.
Thank you, Mr. Boone. I'll be seeking approval of items number 1 and 2. Questions from the board? Questions from the public? Seeing none.
Bless you. Physical plant and construction, Mrs. Haddix.
Nothing on the agenda for tonight.
Thank you. Technology, Mrs. McCurdy.
Thank you, Mr. Boone. Nothing on the agenda for tonight.
Thank you. Positive behavioral intervention, Mrs. Bibla.
No report.
Okay. Intermediate unit, Mrs. Campbell.
Nothing new to report. The minutes from the last meeting are on file in the superintendent's office and on the website. And just a correction here, the next meeting of the LIU will be on August 10th. At right now, it is set for 5 p.m.
Thank you. Career and Technical Center.
Thank you, Mr. Boone. I'd just like to congratulate all the Crestwood graduates who attended the CTC this year. And I have no report this month. The minutes are on file in the superintendent's office and on the district website. The next CTC meeting, the last CTC meeting was on June 20th. And I'm sorry, I do not have in front of me the date for the next meeting, which is in August at 5:30 at the CTC.
They haven't put the schedule out yet.
No schedule out yet. Any non-agenda items to be discussed by members of the board?
On an agenda item,
Go, Ray.
on human resources, items 10 and 11. Did you do those?
Table 10.
Table 10.
Tabling 10.
And 11, we're okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Just clarifying.
Non-agenda from the board? Non-agenda items from the public?
Larry Bronstein, 14 Pine Street. Regarding just the school safety plan in general, I know there's only so much you can talk about, but what happened recently in Texas, I'm sure it's on everybody's mind, teachers, parents, students. Just want to ask that, I'm sure we have people come in from an outside place to assess the facility, just to make sure we're covering all our bases. Is that true?
100%. We actually, I was at a Safe Schools Committee countywide a week and a half ago, and then made contact with some people, so I'm going to have some local law enforcement people do some surveillance and some reporting for us and come to do a building assessment, a district-wide assessment, right. And I'm going to also have somebody from outside the area as well. As a new superintendent, I want to make sure I know the lay of the land everywhere.
Sure.
And safety and security of our kids and our staff is number one. So we're doing that. Normally you update those things every 2-3 years anyway, so we're going to do that. And we just recently had a meeting with the local police department, so we're all on the same page. There's some programming at the county level. 911 is initiating, they're going to put radios in schools with almost like a panic button, so anything that would some emergency occur, God forbid, right. You'd be on open channel to anybody on 911, so you could, response would be immediate. So there's different levels in there of safety and other stuff we can't talk about, but it's definitely at the priority list.
And we'll follow up with you in September. I guess you'll have more information then, right?
Definitely.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Any other non-agenda items to be discussed? If not, we'll go to the voting session. Roll call, please.
Miss Bibla.
Here.
Mr. Brogna.
Here.
Mrs. McCurdy.
Here.
Mrs. Spath. Mr. Swank.
Here.
Mrs. Campbell.
Here.
Mrs. Haddix.
Here.
And Mr. Boone.
Here.
8 members present.
Um,
Oh, Mr. Ackrey, I'm sorry.
Present.
Right over you.
Present.
Okay. I will be seeking a motion on items A and B under the superintendent's report.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Bibla?
Yes.
Mr. Brogna?
Here. Yes.
Mr. Macri?
Yes.
Mrs. McCurdy?
Yes.
Mr. Swank?
Yes.
Mrs. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Haddix?
Yes.
And Mr. Boone?
Yes,
Motion carried.
thank you. Financial planning, Mr. Brogna.
Thank you, Mr. Boone. I'll be seeking approval of items 1 through 5, 6A, and 7 through 24. I so move.
Second.
Ms. Bibla?
No to 6A. Yes to the rest.
Mr. Brogna?
Yes.
Mrs. McCurdy?
Yes.
Mr. Macri?
No to 6A, yes to the rest.
Mr. Swank, sorry.
Yes.
Mrs. Campbell?
No to 6A, yes to the rest.
And Mrs. Haddix?
No to 6A. I recuse myself on check number 3408. Yes to the rest.
Mr. Boone?
Under item 1, I recuse myself on check number 3397. Yes to the rest.
We have, motion carried by all the rest. 6A has 4 votes and 4 votes yay and 4 votes nay. It's a tie.
Yeah, I'll be seeking, make a second motion seeking approval of item 6B. I so move.
Second?
Sorry. Miss Bibla?
No.
Mr. Brogna?
Yes.
Mrs. McCurdy?
Yes.
Mr. Macri?
No.
Mr. Swank?
Yes.
Mrs. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Haddix?
No.
Mr. Boone?
No.
4 to 4 again.
I'll be seeking a motion and approval of item 6C. I so move.
Second.
Miss Bibla?
Yes.
Mr. Brogna?
Yes.
Mrs. McCurdy?
Yes.
Mr. Macri?
Yes.
Mrs. Spat? Sorry, she's not here. Mr. Swank?
Yes.
Mrs. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Haddix?
Yes.
And Mr. Boone?
No.
Motion carried. 7 to 1.
Transportation, Mrs. Bibla.
I'll be seeking a motion of items 1 and 2, seeking a motion to table number 3. I so move.
Second?
Miss Bibla?
Yes.
Mr. Brogna?
Yes.
Mrs. McCurdy? Mrs. McCurdy? Mr. Macri?
Yes.
Mr. Swank?
Yes.
Mrs. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Haddix?
Yes.
Mr. Boone?
Yes.
Mrs. McCurdy? Can you hear
Yes.
her? Yes? Thank you. Motion carried. Policy.
Policy, Mr. Macri.
I'm seeking a motion for approval of item 1, A through F.
Motion?
Second?
Ms. Bibla,
Yes.
Mr. Brogna,
Yes.
Mrs. McCurdy,
Yes.
Mr. Macri,
Yes.
Mr. Swank,
Yes.
Mrs. Campbell,
Yes.
Mrs. Haddix,
Yes.
and Mr. Boone.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Human Resources, Mrs. Bibla.
I'll be seeking of approval of items 1 through 9 and 11, and seeking to table number 10. I so move.
Second.
Ms. Bibla,
Yes.
Mr. Brogna,
Yes.
Mrs. McCurdy,
Yes.
Mr. Macri,
No to item 7, yes to the rest.
Mr. Swank,
Yes.
Mrs. Campbell,
Yes.
Mrs. Haddix,
Yes.
and Mr. Boone.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Academic Programs, Mrs. Campbell.
Thank you. I make a motion to approve items 1 through 4, if I could have a second.
Second.
Ms. Bibla,
Yes.
Mr. Brogna,
Yes.
Mrs. McCurdy,
Yes.
Mr. Macri,
Yes.
Mr. Swank,
Yes.
Mrs. Campbell,
Yes.
Mrs. Haddix,
Yes.
and Mr. Boone.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Co-curricular, Mr. Swank.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will make a motion to approve items number 1 and 2. I so move.
Second?
Ms. Bibla,
I recuse myself on 2K. Yes to the rest.
Mr. Brogna,
Yes.
Mrs. McCurdy,
Yes.
Mr. Macri,
Yes.
Mr. Swank,
I'll recuse myself on 2M. Yes to the rest.
Mrs. Campbell,
Yes.
Mrs. Haddix,
Yes.
and Mr. Boone.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, our next regularly scheduled meeting is on, for committees, is on Thursday, August 11th at 4 o'clock, and the regular board meeting will be on Thursday, August 18th at 6:30. Most likely, there will be a meeting in July. We have some hiring to do for the fall. Thank you, meeting is, motion for adjournment.
Yeah. Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Adjourned.
Huh? So much.